Have you ever wondered, what if? Have you ever thought, if only I had done this or that instead of what I'm doing now, how different would my life be?
No, I did not start out to be a flower farmer at all. I started out to be an English professor.
I gave up living in Raleigh, being a photographer, because I always wanted to live on this farm and grow things. My grandmother could walk out in this yard any day of the year and pick a flower out of this yard to go in her house.
So we started out on a very small scale and just to sort of please ourselves and make a little butter and egg money. And we have grown into the 12 acres that we do now. Just got bigger and bigger, sort of got out of control. We ended up with so many flowers one year that we put them in mason jars and decided to go to the farmer's market with them.
Michael and Daphne now have both a farm and a family near Whitakers, just east of Rocky Mount. And their son Anderson is growing into a more skilled helper every year, an asset Michael's grandfather could never claim.
He did a good job farming. He didn't have any sons, though, and so he was hamstrung in that sense. And his oldest grandson was way too young to help him out. By the time I got to be of age, he had retired from farming.
We laugh and say if we'd known we were going to do this, instead of having one child at 40, we would have started when we were about 18 or 19 and had 10 or 12, the way people used to do. Of course, we're joking, but we have a real clear understanding about how farm families in the early 20th century needed large families for labor.
Today, planting the next crop of flowers is a family affair.
I will take the tractor and the disc and break up the land, tear up the land, get it in good condition. I always plant my flowers and bulbs on a bed, which protects me from excessive rain, which occasionally we have excessive rain. Usually it's not enough rain.
Michael and Daphne have found ingenious new ways to adapt equipment his grandfather's generation may have used and make planting a whole lot easier.
You just can't imagine. We used to do all this stuff by hand. Walking along with a little, it was called a dibble, a stick with a point, the shape of this, and we'd walk along and dibble down the row and poke it in, and we've used a lot of old tobacco technology to make this thing work.
Often, the O'Briens are planting one crop while harvesting another. It's a continuously overlapping cycle that begins early in the year and continues through summer's end. And it turns out that you can't just pick a flower anytime it suits you.
There is an optimum time to pick a flower.
You have to make a judgment as you go down the field every time. Do you think that was too tight?
No, I'd pick it.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
There's a day when it's too young, there's a day when it's too old.
We have almost 15 years of experience, and so we've come to learn the decisive moment for picking a flower, and we try to get every flower that goes to our customer at that time. Generally, our customers get just the flowers with a rubber band around the bottom and some flower food on it. But we're beginning to do more and more commercial customers, and a few of those require that the flowers be arranged.
And I like a big mass of color. And I want them to hang over the side of the vase a little bit, and I want to be certain that they look pretty from all sides. These vases are going in the center of tables, and so, you know, you don't want a flat side somewhere. I've overcome my great fear of cutting things short. You know, once you make that cut, you can't go back and add anything on it. And you'll see sometimes something might be a little bit long, and I'll either snap it off or go back and clip it to make it fill in a hole or make it fit in well with the rest of it.
And so Daphne does a really fabulous job of arranging flowers. Despite being an English major, she has a knack for arranging flowers. And I suppose I have a knack for growing them.
Of course, the goal of all this is a satisfied customer, getting personally delivered bundles of whatever is in perfect bloom.
What we do primarily is a subscription delivery service. And so we try to take our customers something different each week, or at least a different color. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Good, last of the tulips.
Oh, you're so beautiful.
I hope you've enjoyed them. We'll look to see what they got the week before. We'll look in the fields and see what's blooming, what's at its peak, what's the top quality flower.
The rhythms of the earth either sing to you or not, and it's apparent that our former photographer and his English major wife have fallen rather naturally into the groove of life on a flower farm.
I've been really surprised at the reward I've gotten being outdoors. It's part of what connects me to my family, my past, my literary interest. It's a romantic thing to do in a lot of ways, so it suits me very well. And what has surprised me about the business or about other people is how much joy people get from very simple things. Many, many people tell us it's the most satisfying present for one thing they've ever had.
And what about their young son? What vision do they have for him?
A little more, a little more.
Life centered around the good earth and flowers, and days laid row on row through endless years of seasons?
We get a lot of pleasure working, the three of us together in the fields. He's only 11, but he's coming along nicely, but I'm really hoping for medical school.
So next time you drive by a farm like this, or any other farm, you might reflect not only on the hard work that's getting done day after day, but also on the abundance of joy that gets mixed in with the hard work and dreams.